The Holy Rollers was born out of an idea I had at annual conference in 2003 when the bishop had made an appeal for us to take up the annual conference offering, which we always did, and I hadn't paid any attention to it. And then when he was on the big screen in this center here, and he announced the amount of the total for the annual conference, and he fell $100,000 short of what he had hoped was his goal. And he didn't say a word about it. He didn't berate us. He praised us for our faithfulness. But I got stung here because in my church, I passed a plate around once, and I said it's for the conference offering or whatever. I didn't tell him what it was for because I had no idea what it was for. I just said, well, I have to do this because I got this hoop to jump through. So I passed around the plate, brought the $200 to annual conference. What stuck in me and what was so shameful for me was that a week before I rode with multiple sclerosis, the MS-150, my bicycle. And I got up in front of the congregation in my spandex and I said, support me, support the work of the MS. And they gave me $1,200 for multiple sclerosis. And then I brought $200 to annual conference and had no idea what it was for, never promoted it, never advanced the cause of it. So I sat right in the conference with shame in my heart, and I decided that we could do something different. And then there was the report from the conference that because of the state of Methodist preachers, their physical state, because they don't exercise enough and they don't eat well and they're under too much stress, that the cost of health care is prohibitive and that retirees are going to lose their health care benefits from the conference because they're not affordable anymore. And I was doubly stung. So I said, here's what we'll do. We'll get together some people to ride from Charlottesville to Hampton and raise money. We'll wear spandex. People will contribute. It will make us have to train. So we'll get together, which will build collegiality, which will build teamwork and friendships. Plus, it'll be a holy reason for us to have to exercise. Instead of going to another meeting or another board meeting or to another church supper, I have to go ride my bike. Because of why? Because I have this holy purpose. And then one of the gentlemen in a Bible study said, you ought to call yourselves the Holy Rollers, which I thought was silly, but it took. And now we are the Holy Rollers, and that's where it came from. The first year I think we generated about $7,000 more than would have come to annual conference offering. Last year, I think we generated about $11,000 more because we made it a ride, made it a gimmick, made people have to sponsor us as we rode. Last year we had 12, we had 13 this year, 223 miles, and it was absolutely wonderful. Plus, we had the most beautiful weather that anybody's ever seen for a ride like this. And I am so filled with joy, more joy than even the soreness in my body parts.
Well, this map shows our route. The very first day of the Holy Roller Ride, from Charlottesville, we go down through Palmyra, then up into Louisa County and near Lake Anna, before ending up at Ashland, just north of Richmond. Our rest stops along the way are typically at United Methodist churches. This happens to be the church that I grew up in Singers Glen, Virginia, and that's my mom in the light green there next to the minister. The churches open their doors to us, give us a place to rest, go to the bathroom, and feed us before sending us on our way again, often giving us the check that they're sending to annual conference to support the various offerings. The route from Charlottesville to Hampton gives us lots of opportunities to pass historic places. Here we are resting at the top of the mountain at Monticello. Later you'll see us resting at Patrick Henry's home outside of Ashland, and then a group of us in front of the governor's mansion in Williamsburg. This shows our route the second day. From Ashland, we weave down east of the Richmond and then head south and go most of the way right along the James River before coming into Jamestown and Colonial Williamsburg.
I've been constantly trying to remind myself what this is really about, and to me it's really about those millions of children in Africa that are AIDS orphans. It's about a girl in Mozambique who dreams of going to school and needs a place to go to school. It's about a church in Russia that is struggling after decades without any sort of religious training or preparation to train people for ministry in their churches. It's about the people in the Amazon who wonder whether they're going to have health care. That's what matters. And it's so easy to get wrapped up in training for the event and worrying about whether you can make the ride, and then you get out there and you're suffering a bit, and to get wrapped up in yourself. And I've been trying to say to myself, remember what this is about. Remember what you've chosen this. The things we're trying to address through the offering are things that people have not chosen. And yesterday, that trying to remind myself to think about that became a real benefit. I fell behind. I dropped my water bottle a couple times and fell behind, and the people that I was riding with didn't wait for me, and I got way behind, and I was out there by myself. And the support people, we have plenty of support people, and they do a great job, but they didn't know I was back there, and so for a long time I was on the road by myself. Nobody was telling me where to turn. I had a map. I had to stop at every intersection. And I was kind of starting to get angry and frustrated, and I reminded myself, okay, remember what this is about. And what was happening to me suddenly became a metaphor for those street children who were trying to serve in the Brazilian offering. Sao Paulo has millions of children who have been abandoned and live on the street. And I thought, they've fallen behind, and there's a support system that's supposed to take care of them, and it hasn't. It's failed in some way. And I started thinking about how I could be in the fast group, and I wouldn't be thinking about the person behind it. Isn't that kind of a metaphor for our world? Those of us for whom things are going well press on, and we have our own troubles and our own worries and our own pains, and what we're addressing in the offering is just hundreds, thousands of people who have, for one reason or another, gotten left behind or have fallen behind, and it's our responsibility to go back and pick them up, show them the way, and comfort them, and I guess the worst feeling is just feeling alone and abandoned. And in all these ministries we're supporting in the offering, it's a way of accompanying people and saying you're not alone and abandoned, and that's what Holy Rollers is about.